People are cantering along. They want their horse to trot. They're not exactly in sync with their horse. So what they do is they kind of lean forward and hollow out their back. And when you do this, it creates a lot of stiffness in your back, and it's gonna hurt your back. Hello everyone, I'm Amelia. Today we're talking about back pain and what to do if your back hurts when you're riding. This is a very common thing. Let me know in the comments if you have back pain from riding, or if you feel like your back actually gets better from riding, which I hope is the case, because that should be the case. If your back is hurting when you're riding, then you are doing something wrong. Also, please give this channel a big thumbs up and click the red button below to subscribe so you get notified every time I post a new video. You're also going to want to check out the description. I have a free PDF download on the canter, and I also have a free mini course on rider position. So be sure to check that out. Now, the biggest thing that's going to help you from hurting your back when you're riding is getting in the correct position and maintaining neutral spine. So the first thing that I always work on with all my students when they get on is finding the correct alignment from your ear to your shoulder to your hip to your heel. What this does is it puts your spine in neutral spine, which I'm not a physical therapist, but there's some natural curves to your spine. When you're in neutral spine, you're able to absorb the motion of the horse. And when you're not in neutral spine, all of the jarring motion of your horse is going to be hurting your muscles and your vertebrae in your back. So some of the most common mistakes I see, and what I do, is I tend to overarch my back and stick my butt out behind me. When you do this and you're riding, it's gonna hurt your back, because all of that concussion of your horse's bounciness is gonna be putting pressure on your vertebrae and on your discs, and also hurting your muscles. The other extreme is a posterior pelvic tilt, where you're sitting too much on your butt and like kind of driving your seat bones this way. So the way that you can also help to find neutral spine is just by putting your hand underneath your bum, and then you want to kind of feel your seat bones and feel that your seat bones are pointing straight down into the saddle. If I overarch my back, now my seat bones are pointing to the back of the saddle. And if I curl under, now I no longer can feel my seat bones. So you really want to be able to feel these seat bones. Another really, really important thing to help you maintain this neutral spine is pulling your belly button in towards your spine and keeping some tone. Like, I kind of think about if you are sucking in like on a thick milkshake, lifting up your pelvic floor and tightening your lower abs is going to help you to maintain this neutral spine. And it's especially important during transitions that you do this, during transitions and during sitting trot. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple of exercises and common mistakes where you might be losing neutral spine and causing your back to hurt. So the first and most common place where you hurt your back is during transitions. And the reason why is that if your core isn't tight, if you're not in the correct alignment, when you do a transition, it's going to cause strain on your back. Like, your back is going to take all of that pressure. So I'm going to say that the most common place that I have hurt my back riding is, I would say, in the canter trot transition. And a lot of times what happens is that people are cantering along and they want their horse to trot. Their horse maybe isn't trotting, or they're not exactly in sync with their horse. And so what they do is they kind of lean forward and hollow out their back and then trot. And when you do this, it creates a lot of stiffness in your back, and it's gonna hurt your back. Like, the bounce from the canter to the trot is gonna hurt your back. So let me show you now the correct way. If I'm cantering along here and I want to trot, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm sitting back, that I have my neutral spine, my ear, shoulder, hip, heel. Then I'm going to think about keep breathing, exhaling and sucking in my milkshake, tightening my core so that I can stay right with him in that transition from canter to trot. And then same thing in the trot to walk transition is I'm pulling my tummy in, I'm maintaining that neutral spine. Good boy. So let me show you, if you're not maintaining neutral spine in transitions, the other thing that I see happen a lot is, say you want to walk and you go like this too much, like that is gonna hurt your back. So if your back is hurting when you're riding, you're not doing something right. Something is wrong. Now, the other common place where you're gonna hurt your back is the sitting trot. It's really, really important that before you start working on your sitting trot, that your horse is round and using their back. Because if your horse is hollow and your horse isn't correctly using their back, it's going to be really, really difficult to sit their trot, because their trot's going to be extra bouncy. So before you do sitting trot, your horse must be round and your horse must also be in front of the leg. So like, come on, get going here. He's got to be going so that I don't have to keep telling him to go while I'm trying to sit the trot. Then when I do sit the trot, making sure I have neutral spine and that I have a little bit of tone. I don't want to be too tight in my abs because I want to also follow the motion, but I don't want to be too loose either. So if I'm arching my back in the sitting trot like this and my butt is poking to the back, you see how that causes me to bounce? And like literally right now I can feel that hurting my back. The other common thing I see is people that kind of like hunch down and sit too much on their backside, like on their pockets. And again, you can see how this is uncomfortable for me and it's also uncomfortable for him. Sorry, buddy. So if your back is hurting when you're riding, you have to really focus on this. Focus on your core, focus on your neutral spine. Try to figure out where are those moments that you get out of position, and whenever you're disconnected from your horse and you kind of slap into the saddle, that's going to be where your back hurts. So let me know in the comments where you feel like you're hurting your back. Is it during transitions? Is it during sitting trot? Is it during the canter? Is it during the canter to trot transition? Where are you getting disconnected from your horse and hurting your back? Another really important thing to think about is saddle fit. So make sure that your saddle is the right size. Make sure your saddle properly fits your horse, because your saddle is basically the sandwich between you and your horse. So it is a really important part of that. But bottom line is that riding, when done correctly, the motion of the horse, it actually should loosen your back and make your back feel better. The other thing that I want to remind you about sitting trot is it's quality over quantity. So it's better to do like one circle of really nice sitting trot where you're not bouncing, rather than trying to sit the trot for like 5 minutes and have it get really ugly with lots of bouncing. It's also important, if your back is hurting, your horse's back is probably hurting. Like those two are coordinated. So you just want to be mindful of that. And the more that you're able to follow the motion of your horse's back, stay connected with your horse's back, not only is it going to feel better for you, it's also going to feel better for your horse. And we all love our horses, and that's super important. So I hope you like this video. Check out the description box for all my free giveaways, and we'll see you in the next video.